welcome back. We are starting the second phase of our interview with Bruce Armstrong. We've already done 30 minutes of it, but we're going to do a little bit more so we can share it with you on Facebook. And Bruce, so people that didn't get to see the first part of this, you've been here in Gallup how long?
A little over a year.
Over a year, and you're a soccer player.
Well, yes, I don't know if I still am a soccer player. I was struggling to get back into it when COVID came along and shut down half of the season. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with the team I was on.
Well, if there's any place that's really good to get back into things, it's Gallup, New Mexico. I imagine you found all those guys very happy to have you, and you know, it really, I think that's one of Gallup's real pluses, is that we welcome everybody.
Yeah, and I don't think that those folks knew that I spoke Spanish. Most of my team spoke Spanish, and I don't know. I was waiting to tell them, but I just didn't.
Well, you know, but it's lots of fun, and I think you'll get back to soccer.
Mm-hmm.
You work for Greater Gallup Economic Development Corporation, and their mission is not just any economic development. It is a very specific area, isn't it?
Yes, it's our mission is to grow the economy. I mean, and through strategic partnerships, and to bring in economic-based jobs, which are higher-paid jobs that bring money in from outside the community, and that in turn, each job that is an economic-based job generates between 3 and 5 service sector jobs. So when we grow that portion of the economy, the rest of the economy rises along with it.
Yeah, so these are jobs like you have out north of town, and what is that? That's not called an inland port anymore. That's a transportation center.
You're talking about the Energy Logistics Park?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a BNSF certified rail site. It's conceived as a commercial industrial park, and being developed with that in mind. There's 20,000 linear feet of track in there, and we can handle. Right now they're storing oil tanker cars there. But it's set up to be a transload, so that any kind of equipment.
Are we already doing transload?
Well, yes, we are. We had a sand transload operation going for a while, but that was frac sand, and that's gone by the way for temporarily. But we're still working with that, or the Gallup Land Partners are working with that company to run their transload operations.
Okay. So we still have businesses out there that are making it,
Yeah.
they're still working through COVID?
Yes,
You know, that's one of the things that I was thinking the other day. It's sort of like coming into your community after a bad storm or a big fire or something. We're going to have to just go through Gallup store by store to see who's still there and who's still standing. I mean,
Right.
I don't think we've seen all the fallout, have we, from COVID?
No, we haven't. We certainly haven't. And even when you look at what we do in economic development it's information based, and we're going off of your census data, income data, everything that, you know, when we're presenting to the community, say, well, we put that little asterisk in there and it's like, this was what it was before COVID. So when you have an event like the closure of Marathon Petroleum refinery, and you have 200 workers and their families leaving the community, that leaves a huge hole. And
when are they closing exactly?
Well, they've laid off the workers there and indicate that those jobs aren't coming back. They've mothballed the operation, and I guess there's hope in the community that some oil entity will
Somebody will save us.
Somebody will save us. Somebody will purchase that operation and find a way to continue making money at it. And
You're in the economic development area. what is the prognosis for oil companies? I mean, this doesn't look good to me.
Um, you know, it's not good. But if we're able to, if we were able to have a vaccine tomorrow and we could stand the economy back up, there's a continuing need for oil until we transition to something else.
Well, we'd have a quick need for oil, and then it would begin to go back down. I mean, at some point we're going to be wind and solar oriented. Almost all of it will be, but I keep hoping that the oil guys will start thinking up ways to use oil that doesn't impact the environment. And if they could do that, wouldn't that be exciting?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, but I haven't seen them do that. Have you?
No, and I think it's the same thing for coal. There are alternative things that could be done, but the research and development just hasn't been into what that could be, and in a way that can be make sense in the market and be scalable.
Well, our coal here too. Our coal is not real good. The coal on the East Coast is anthracite, and this coal is more shale. And so, you've got two different products there, and I think they could probably make something out of both of them, but they've never spent any money on research.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's sad, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, and then when we look at the solar, there are a number of entities that are interested in developing solar fields here, or in some cases I think they come in and they're all gung-ho to go, but they're really finding a property and tying it up and waiting to see if that data storage facility is going to show up, but they want the optimal site for a solar field.
Right.
But that only provides significant jobs in the construction of the.
That doesn't provide any jobs.
Not over the long term.
I mean, the wind
jobs.
farms all over this country. Like 3 guys are out there doing 200 windmills,
Right.
and a lot of them can fix them by computer on the ground. But at least windmills don't shake anymore. They used to shake so bad going into Petaluma that you could feel it like 100 miles away. You'd start getting the vibrations.
Wow.
And so I was really pleased when I went to Lamar, Colorado, and they had these. You could go up and actually hold on to a wind turbine, and there was no vibration. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
But how all that's going to work, I don't know. This program, the industrial park, is out at Pruitt.
Yeah, this is part of the transition from the closure of the Escalante generating station.
Okay.
That we anticipated, that Patty and had anticipated that this was going to take place over 5 years ago, and began working with Tri-State and with various folks to plan for this eventuality. We're going to need to transition to something else, and so the first part of that was in knowing, when we knew that Escalante was going to close, was how do we protect McKinley paper and keep them from having to close too, because they co-located there for the use of the steam
Right.
in their paper production. So the first thing is they need cogeneration to create the steam that they need, and then they need some additional help, and there was a bill introduced in the legislature, Patty introduced in the legislature, that's House Bill 8, and that was to set up a economic district there that could have bond capacity and do financing, and would have an independent
And that
board.
won't, now, that particular designation will not impact the county bonding, will it?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's always, people forget that sometimes you pass the industrial bond, but it impacts other things. So this
Right.
one does not, though.
Right. It gives them, it's an independent authority that has bonding capacity.
Right.
but the idea there was, and then there was funding that was made available to do through the EDA and through an EDA grant in part to do the master plan, the site master plan, and to figure out what kinds of things could be there and start. That allows us to target the industries that we want to bring in that can work well there. And one big advantage, the Pruitt site is about a half an hour from Grants, not quite that much, but drawing most of their workers from Grants and Milan area. It's a major employer. So we've got a workforce there, and a workforce that needs jobs very much, and so working with Tri-State to make that transition a smooth one, and they're not just cutting and running, they're helping and working with the community to
Well, all of this,
help make
and
this
for anybody
happen.
that doesn't know, from this site, all of the bond money goes into McKinley County. It's
Mhm.
sitting on the McKinley County side of the
Mhm.
line.
Right.
So they got all of the jobs and grants.
Hmm.
What we got was all the bond money.
Right. And the
That
GRT.
came out of there.
Hmm. Right. So I don't know.
So
if
that's
you wanna-
not bad.
So what you're looking at there is a kind of artist rendition of what that building can look like. Um,
Well, that's all very, the electric plant is gone though, isn't it?
Well,
Is it shut down?
They are working on. My understanding is there's going to be a solar field.
Oh, okay.
Because Tri-State will continue to supply their existing customers.
So they'll put all that, any solar into that particular generating plant and then,
Yeah.
okay. That's a good thing. We'll take a quick commercial break and then we'll come back and finish this up. Hi, welcome back to This Week in Gallup. I'm Barbara Stanley, and I'm visiting with Bruce Armstrong, who is with the Greater Gallup Economic Development Group. We have not talked about this segment. Marathon Oil is going to be gone when?
They they're just in a holding pattern. They're not. I mean, they've cut down the jobs. They said the jobs aren't coming back. But as far as liquidating their assets, that's not happening.
That's not happening yet?
No, and um,
So, well, that gives you some hope.
right, it gives hope. What I heard is that they are breaking their operations down into three areas. One being the speedway gas stations, one being the retail operations that they have associated with those gas stations, and others, I guess. And then others, your is it the mid-level distribution of gasoline they would continue to distribute, but not from the refinery.
Do companies like that, Bruce, when they get ready to shut down, do they have things that you could help them do that might help them reopen? Or, I mean, are there things that Greater Gallup could do to help Marathon maybe return?
I'm not sure.
Not really.
If they asked for our help, we would find a way to help them. But to help someone shut down, I think the better example is Tri-State, where we're able to envision a transition and to put legislation around that, and to have, when they move out of the energy production business there from coal.
Right.
There's still going to be energy production there, but their building converts to a new use. That can be, parts of that are going to get demolished, but they have a training facility there that can continue to be a training facility, or it could be a standalone operation for somebody. People are always looking for buildings, and
so that might be a way we could help them. As I say, I don't know that. I was just thinking. We don't think about big companies asking for help. They ask for money, and they go to the legislators to do that. But they, maybe they need help with little things, and we don't know about. But they could come and ask also.
Right.
That's one of the things that I'm not certain people understand. You can't go and get in the middle of anybody's business unless they ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they want your help.
Right.
You can't just move in and say, hey, I've got a better way to do this.
Right. And our organization is a private, it's a non-profit, and we exist to serve the companies and to help improve the business climate here. So we do annual surveys as part of our business retention and expansion program, and we're touching base with each business at least once a year to find out what's going well, what's not so well, what jobs are you having the most turnover in. And we hear back from them over a number of years. We heard back that the biggest challenge was getting the workforce they needed. And people just weren't at the level where they needed to be to land those jobs to begin with, let alone keep the jobs if they got in there.
Right.
And what we're doing is taking people through our industrial workforce program that we started through Greater Gallup Economic Development Corporation, taking people from the level where they're at with their skill base and their education up to the level where they need to be to get those jobs.
For just beginning jobs.
Yeah, and then the company where they can pick those people up and train them into the company.
Right.
So whether that's heavy equipment or knowing how to handle chemicals or technicians of various types,
we put a lot of welders out of UNM Gallup. They're doing good with that.
Yeah, and to your other question is, if a company says, we're thinking we'd like to locate in Gallup, but can you provide us with 50 welders? We're going to need 50 welders. We'll find a way to do it.
Right.
And we would find a way to do it before we had an industrial workforce program. But now we are actually offering welding classes. Yeah.
Well, and I've always thought that UNM Gallup should be an integral part of any economic development, because they should be spry enough that they can get rid of X classes and start in Y classes, because we need Y, we don't need X now.
Yeah.
And but so far they have not been that flexible. I'm hoping they get more flexible, and I think, talking to Ralph Richards, I think he would like to be more flexible and sees a need for that. So, that needs to be a very flexible and fluent kind of programs up there. So you guys can say, we need underwater basket weavers this week.
Right.
And that's what they're going to train them this week, if we can find any water.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But I think this whole thing of supplying people for industry has got to work with all of the different forces in the community, or it's not going to work at all.
It is. And then we're looking at this time with the COVID that's taken us all out of our normal routines.
Right.
To really regroup and think and get back to our core mission and figure out how are we going to do this. And given all these local crises, and we're taking a lot of big hits, but at the same time we're expanding our ability to our communications technology and positioning ourselves to be able to use the assets that we've developed, such as we have a foreign direct investment qualified, we're FDI qualified community. So we have these designations, and that allows us to bring in European corporations, and we've met criteria that they set.
Well, I think probably one of the groups that really like Gallup is the Japanese, and they really, really, really love Gallup, and primarily it's the code talker connection. And when I at the Small Business Development Center, and before that the Chamber, and then the restaurant business, the Japanese were good tourists here, and they came here a lot.
Yeah, well,
But they might have money to invest.
Yeah, and do they want to come and open factories here? What can we offer that they don't have? When you look at the West Coast, there's a huge outmigration. People who are, maybe they've been burned out twice or 3 times already.
Yeah.
That's happened to some families that I know. And they're saying, I love California, but California I loved isn't there anymore. I don't want to get in my car and sit in a traffic jam for an hour to go to the beach. There's got to be a better way, and some of those people are coming here out in the Four Corners region. And just recently we were up in Cortez, and there's nothing available in the market. All the land is, anything that comes up is bought up right away. People are either buying their second homes or their primary home, but people are in a position of being able to work remotely, and that's going to become part of the new reality for a lot of people.
Well, I've always said that we ought to be building vacation homes up here. We ought to have fancy trailer parks for the seniors that they now are in the forests up above Phoenix, but they could come here to Rama, to McGaffey, and all these places are really, really neat. And but we haven't really done that. We haven't encouraged that investment.
Right. Well,
but we're cool enough in the summer, and we've got really good weather here.
Yeah, it's a great place to live, and when we bring in more companies, people are going to find that out, and we're also trying to solve some of the problems that we have in Gallup, such as housing, not just affordable housing, but workforce housing. A company that wants to come here and they're looking between two similar communities, if they can find housing, let alone buy it, their workers can find homes, they're going to choose that community. So we need to figure out how to build more housing across the income levels.
Well, there must be a way to do that. Smart people, we should use the COVID thing to think of as an opportunity to do all these small things that we haven't done before, like infrastructure that needs to be done. Find a place to put, another 1,000 homes. Right. That all of those little things we ought to be working on, so that when COVID is gone, why then we'll be ready.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking as you said that, and it's not, I mean, COVID combined with the other crises, uh, people moving out, is going to create some more housing stock available. And if we can quickly move some companies in, we can take advantage of this bubble between now and when we can build and develop the housing we really need here.
Well, we need to really think about how we're going to do that, and you know, so that we're ready.
Yeah.
Because we need, I think, you're right. Gallup is going to grow, and this COVID might have been an opportunity, and we just haven't figured out quite how to use that opportunity yet.
That's it. Right.
Okay? So we have a new mission, think opportunity.
Think opportunity.
Huh?
Think Gallup. Think opportunity.
Right.
Think
Gallup opportunity.
Right.
Is there anything else that you haven't got to say?
Well, I just wanted to say, following on that point, that that what COVID has done for the Greater Gallup Economic Development Corporation is to help us focus on our core mission. We really have three areas that we're working in. One is business retention and expansion, and that's working with the companies that are here and helping them get what they need to be able to stay here and continue to hopefully prosper. The other one is business attraction and recruitment, and we're really not, that's been a big part of our mission, going to trade shows and selling Gallup
Right.
to target industries that we want to attract here. But we're really backing off on that piece. We're really not doing that right now. At least not going to the trade shows. But we are building our website and our communications capacity to sell Gallup from here. And
Right.
we also need to, we'll be redoing our targeted industry studies because of the supply chains have changed and some of the new industries that are coming into New Mexico and new opportunities that are coming. We need a new study to see, what we need to be targeting.
Well, and one thing I'll tell you about, the social networks and everything, they say that bad publicity is at least publicity.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always had a lot of bad publicity, Bruce. Now that might bring in all the people who will look at us for bad publicity to see something good.
Right.
So that might be a trigger.
And I've been looking to the Carbon Coal Road, and I see that as that's the horizon. Once that goes in, Gallup could be on a completely different footing, and especially if it goes in together with businesses coming into the Energy Logistics Park and also locating along that road.
All right.
So
You've got a new thoroughfare coming.
That's it.
How about that?
And the road construction people
Well,
are really excited to build a whole 4-lane highway from scratch. They don't get too much chance to do that.
Yeah, not many people get to build those.
Yeah, and that's going to provide some good,
Yeah, that's exciting.
road jobs in the short term. So the infrastructure is
When does that start?
It's underway. It's coming in.
Oh,
in
they're
bits and
working on
pieces.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good thing. We'll have to all go to Carbon Coal Road.
Yeah. Next show.
Yeah, big show, right.
We'll get
Anyway,
the show on the road.
we want to thank you, and Greater Gallup has always done a really, really good job at whatever they've taken on. And so tell the whole crew down there that I said hi. I miss working down there. I was one of the volunteers or something.
You're welcome to come back.
What I do really well is the phone. That's what, that was my big bag.
You're welcome to come back.
Yeah, and so I got to jolly all these people along to come to dinners and things. But anyway, you do a good job down there, and I think we should all be very proud of you. And with that, we'll shut it down tonight and say thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.